Hello everyone! In today's video we're going to discuss the most recent and impactful events that are shaping the global landscape. We'll talk about Ukraine's consolidation of positions in the Kursk region despite fierce Russian resistance. Additionally, we'll delve into the situation at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, which finds itself in a delicate position amidst the war, and we'll address the growing tensions between Israel and Iran. And if that wasn't enough, we'll also touch on Kamala Harris's economic proposal in the United States, which is stirring up a lot of controversy. If you want to stay informed about geopolitics, economics, and the key international events, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Let's dive in. The first issue we have to address is the Ukrainian offensive in the Kursk region. Ukraine has been strategically positioning itself, managing to consolidate territorial gains despite Russia's attempted counterattacks. One of Ukraine's primary focuses has been destroying key Russian infrastructure, such as bridges connecting Russian territory to occupied regions, delaying the arrival of Russian reinforcements and military supplies. Recently, a Ukrainian strike damaged a critical bridge in the area, and other attacks aimed to further undermine Russia's ability to respond swiftly. It's estimated that Ukraine has reclaimed around 1,000 square kilometers, an area roughly the size of the state of Rhode Island. The strategic city of Susa is now under Ukrainian control, marking a significant blow to Russian forces. But the big question is, will these gains be sustainable? Ukraine has managed to shake Russia's image of invincibility, particularly on the domestic front, where Putin faces growing political and social pressure. With mass displacements, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of people who have been forced to leave their homes in regions like Kursk and Belgorod. On the Russian side, the response hasn't been just military but also diplomatic. Recently, Russia signed a mutual defense agreement with North Korea. This agreement guarantees that in case of military attack on one of these countries, the other will provide full support. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un publicly declared that he views the Ukrainian strikes on Russian territory as acts of terrorism and suggested that this could be a prelude to a world war driven by the United States and its Western allies. Although North Korea hasn't sent troops to support Russia, there's a possibility of increased supplies of ammunition, equipment, and possibly even technological assistance. It's important to note that while North Korea doesn't have as advanced weaponry as other superpowers, its vast stockpiles of arms and ammunition could be useful to Russia, especially in a prolonged war. Still, while Russia struggles in Kursk, it has made significant advances in other regions such as Donetsk. The city of Pokrovsk, with a pre-war population of about 60,000 people, is now under Russian attack, with Russian forces quickly closing in. This is concerning because Pokrovsk is strategically important, both logistically and militarily. Capturing Pokrovsk could pave the way for a larger Russian offensive in the Donetsk region, one of Putin's main objectives in this war. The situation at Zaporizhzhia is another major concern. This nuclear power plant, the largest in Europe, is located in a combat zone, and any serious incident could result in a nuclear disaster of immense proportions. Russian troops control the area around the plant, but Ukrainian attacks continue nearby, raising the risk of damage to the plant's critical infrastructure. International agencies have been constantly expressing concern about the plant's safety, and ongoing negotiations aim to create a safety zone around Zaporizhzhia, but so far no agreement has been reached. This puts not only Ukraine and Russia at risk, but all of Europe in the event of an accident. Now, shifting focus a bit, we need to talk about the growing tensions between Israel and Iran. In recent weeks, we've seen an escalation in threats and retaliations between these two nations. Israel continues to carry out covert operations, sabotaging Iranian nuclear infrastructure. And Iran is responding by increasing its military presence in Syria and supporting militant groups in the region. What's most concerning is the possibility of a direct confrontation between these countries, which could further destabilize the Middle East. With Iran's continued support for groups like Hezbollah and Hamas, Israel is also preparing for what could be a major conflict. The international community is increasingly worried, fearing that an escalation in this conflict could have global repercussions. Finally, let's talk a bit about US Vice President Kamala Harris's economic proposal. Harris has introduced a plan focused on the American middle class, called the Opportunity Economy. The proposal includes tax cuts for millions of Americans and social subsidies for housing, food, and healthcare. The idea is to combat the effects of inflation and create a more equitable economy. However, this proposal has generated mixed reactions in the market. While some support the idea of boosting middle-class purchasing power, others fear that it could increase US public debt, risking the country's economic stability. Critics like former President Donald Trump argue that Harris's policies create an unfavorable business environment and could scare off foreign investors. So, folks, with all of this happening in the world, it's hard to predict how these situations will unfold. What we do know is that the war in Ukraine is far from over, and global tensions continue to rise both in Europe and the Middle East. As for the US economy, time will tell whether Kamala Harris's proposal will be effective or bring more challenges for the middle class. If you enjoyed this content and want to stay updated on geopolitics, economics, and more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to receive all updates. Also, make sure to like this video and share it with your friends. And of course, leave your thoughts on the topics we discussed in the comments below. See you in the next video. Until then.